Hello, welcome to Code Zero, a series of videos that explores the world of code. My name is Pragma, and I make things with Zim. Zim creator, Dr. Abstract, is about to Code Zero with you. Have a great time learning about code.
Hello! Welcome back to Code Zero. I am Dr. Abstract. In this Code Zero, we're going to actually do some code. Woohoo! So we'll do that in a template, and we can find the template at the Zim site, zimjs.com. So let's go there now. And if we scroll down in the Zim site, there's a link to the Zim zip. So if we press that, it downloads a zip file that has our templates. Let's go take a look. We need to open up the zip file, so probably you can just double click it or click it. And we'll say OK. And it will make a Zim folder for us. So we've extracted the Zim folder from the Zim zip. Inside the Zim folder are a bunch of templates and also a nice README file. You should definitely read the README file. And what we're going to do is make a copy of the fit template. So I right click and I say copy. And I'm going to just come back to, instead of storing our file and coding inside where all the templates are, we can just put that somewhere. It could be on your desktop, or it doesn't really matter. And instead of fit, we will rename that code. Code.html. Okay, we don't want to start changing our templates. They should be there ready for us when we want to use a template again. So if we open this code.html, it will probably open up in a browser for you. And there it is. And this is called fit because the stage where we're working on, this green thing, is called the stage. Fits to the browser window. See that? Isn't that neat? So that's one of the templates. There are other templates. And this template has a button on it. Okay, so what we want to do is start coding ourselves inside this template. And this is called an HTML page, so code.html. We can view the code of the HTML page by right-clicking. Now, if you right-click here, it says View Image, and that's because our stage is inside a canvas tag. And the canvas tag is part of the HTML tagging world, coding world. And it's an image that is constantly changing. So when I roll over that, this is all just one image. You could save the image on your desktop, for instance. So you can't see the code that way because it's treated as an image. But if you right-click on the black around the outside, that's not the canvas, that's the HTML page, and you can view the page source there. This shows us the code that we're going to go in and take a look at. There it is. But I don't want to see it here, nor can I edit it here. So that won't help us too much. How we can open it up is if we go back here, we can right-click and say, open with something. Hopefully you've got something. I'm going to open it with Atom. You could open it up with Notepad++. Oh, Notepad++ you have to download. You could open it up with Notepad, but Notepad is a little bit unruly. It doesn't have color syntaxing. So you might want to go get Atom. Atom is free. And here, I'll just show you it. Search for Atom text editor, like so. Atom text editor. There we are at atom.io. I would highly recommend that. There's other ones like Dreamweaver and Sublime, and like I said, Notepad++ is a nice quick one too, but I do like Atom. So when I right-click and say open with Atom, like so, oh, I already have Atom open, it's here. So this is Adam, and another way to do it would be to drag it onto your text editor. So open up your text editor and drag it. And there we go. And this shows the code in an editor where I can now make changes to it and save it. Okay, another way would be to open up your text editor and say File, Open File, as you can imagine. Okay, so now we're inside the code where we can edit it, and this is HTML code, so there's several systems that we're using. There's the title in HTML that says that this is a fit template, so we could just say Zim code and save that up there. There's a whole bunch of introduction and things that we're doing to load in files that we need. And this is all part of the template. I don't want to start by going through the template. I want to just start making some nice code and see it. So let's ignore this stuff for now. This script is saying here's where we're going to be coding. There's some options on how we can set up our template. We're using the fit mode and giving it a width and a height, and that will then fit in the browser. Down here we have some Zim code that sets up our framework and gives us a stage width and a stage height. And then here's a message that says, put your code here. You can delete this code. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to delete the button code. Bloop. We will leave the stage.update. That makes it so that any parts of the code we put in will show up on the stage for us. Okay, and then there's the rest of the code template, and we're back into the body of the HTML. The canvas tag will be made by Zim frame, so it will be made by our template. In other words, we don't have to do anything here at all. Okay, we just start coding right in here where it says put your code here. So let's save that, Control S, and then we'll view this change in the browser. So if you've closed your browser, you should keep both of them open. Keep your code open, keep your browser open, and just go back and forth between the two. Once we've made a save in the code, we need to refresh our browser. And now we can see the change. Now, which browser you use doesn't matter. You can use Firefox or Chrome or Edge or Safari. Okay, so there's the change. Our button is gone. Oh, you've been coding, haven't you? So just hit the refresh, or there's a Control R. So we make a save here in our code, and we refresh in the browser. And we continue to build like that. Isn't that neat? Both these things, the code is free, or the editor is free, and the browsers are free. This is as easy as it's ever been to be able to do code for free. So, once we're in here, I'd like to start with some code that we can see. Let's just get something on the stage that we can see. So we'll talk about it as we go. I'll write the code, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Var circle is equal to a new Zim dot circle round brackets semicolon. There's some code. Ooh. So what are we doing? Well, we are making a circle and storing it in what's called a variable like that, because we can change that so it receives other things. For instance, we can make a variable x and we could put 9 in it, and later we can say x is now equal to 3. So what we're doing is we're taking the number 9 and we're assigning it to x. We're putting the 9 object into x. And later we could change that. We could say, now make x equal to 3, please. And now x would be 3. Hence, it's a variable. So a variable is like a label. It's just a label for a container. This is saying we're going to be making a circle, and we're going to, from now on, we can call this circle. So for instance, on our next line, we can say circle dot center on the stage, please. So here's where we stored circle, and then we're saying whatever we've stored in circle, please center it on the stage. And we'll come back to that. So what did we put into circle? Well, we put a new Zim circle into circle. What does that do? Well, the new keyword makes an object from what's called a class. So circle, I'll use some code here. This code, by the way, means a comment. So the computer does the code line by line, usually, and it will ignore any lines that have comments. And that's why they're grayed out like that. So I'm just going to tell you some extra information about this circle. Circle is a class, it's called. Class, like that. That's one of the things that we use in our object-oriented coding. What a class is it's like a template. It's instructions on how to build a circle. When you're making a cake, for instance, you've got the instructions to make a cake out of these ingredients. You do this, you do that, you do that. Well, circle is the instructions on how to make a circle. When we use the new keyword, do you see how new is purple and so is var? That's called color syntax highlighting. Color syntax highlighting, whatever. And it's nice if your editor does these colors for you. We're working in a language called JavaScript. And this editor, JavaScript's very common, and this editor understands what JavaScript is. And so it knows that var is a keyword. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you heard that. It knows that var is a keyword. It doesn't know what circle is, so it's just plain and white. We've made up the word circle. If we wanted to, we could have called it var_c. This is our label that we get to make. And that's one of the things in coding that it's sort of hard to figure out at the beginning. When can we make up words and when can't we? And we'll talk about that in Code 0 as we go. So there's a var circle, and we're assigning it a new circle. So this is the assignment operator. The equal sign is the assignment operator. What that does is it takes whatever's on this side and it puts it into here. All right, the Zim means whose circle is it? Well, it's the circle that is inside a Zim. Zim is a framework, but also a library. This thing's called a namespace. It says that the circle, the code that made up this circle, is inside of Zim. You may have heard of a library called jQuery. That's another library, and it may have its own circle, and we don't want to get our circles mixed up. So Zim, in this case, Zim is called a namespace. Don't worry too much about that. A namespace. It's really just an object that we're storing the circle class in. Okay, well, hey, should we see this? And then down here, we're sort of saying, hey, please center the circle on the stage. Isn't that nice? It's a little bit like English, isn't it? Make a circle out of a new Zim circle, put the circle, center it on the stage, and then update the stage. So it's not too bad. The semicolons mean it's the end of a statement, and each statement will run, and then the next statement will run, and the next statement will run, for the most part. There are some nuances there, but we'll work through that. And we've also got these round brackets here. We've seen them a few times. They allow us to add extra information. So we want to center the circle on something. On what? On the stage. Later we'll see how we can make containers, and we might center a circle in a container. These two round brackets will allow us to tell more information about the circle. Let's see what the circle looks like right now, though. So we save this. Control S will save it. And we come back here and we refresh. And now we have a default circle. This is when we don't say any information about the circle. That's what it looks like. and it's centered on the stage. Cool. Let's make the circle bigger. How about 200? And this will be 200 pixels in radius. So that's the radius information, and we can also tell it the color. Blue, like that. And we put blue in quotes, and we'll talk more about that later. It turns out that that's a number, and if it's a string or a word, then we put it in quotes. If we didn't put that in quotes, like so, then it would think that blue is like circle that should already exist or it needs to be somewhere. And that's not the case. Blue is in quotes. This type of thing, where we put brackets, where we put semicolons, when we have to use quotes, and all this types of equal signs, that's all called the syntax. And it's just something that we need to get used to as we're learning the language. And computers need that to be specific. If we leave those out, they'll give us errors. Okay, so we'll save that, and we'll see if it's made the change. We refresh. And now we've got a big blue circle centered on the stage. Isn't that fascinating? So this is our first coding here in code 0. And in our next code 0, we will continue on coding and talking more about these amazing things. I love code. I am Dr. Abstract here at Code 0. Have a great day.